This is Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to Flipping 50, where I address your top questions and struggles. I share what to eat, how to move, and how to think to get the energy and the vitality that you want in this second and better half. And today I am spilling the beans. I'm sharing all of the secrets about how I mastered menopause metabolism with exercise, somewhat accidentally. If menopause metabolism has put pounds on you or belly fat is an issue, no matter what else is going on with your weight, this is your read or listen. You will find the show notes, by the way, at flipping50.com/menopause metabolism. I'd be willing to bet that most of what you believe, because it's what you've been taught, is part of the problem. In this post, I uncover what worked for me and how I discovered the research that made my accidental optimal menopause metabolism formula no accident at all. I stumbled onto something that in any other circumstances I would have completely screwed up. I was in the worst year of my adult life. It started with excitement, doesn't it always? Right? That quickly turned to panic and fear and tears, taking every picture off my walls while others were putting up holiday decorations. I had to sell my house. After having quit my safe, secure job with a steady paycheck, and I'd volunteered for that one. Having a 10-year relationship fall apart, my son went to college that year, and I was working in isolation, feeling really dumb about all things online as I was trying to take my brand new business there at 49. I went from someone who exercised 10 or more hours a week to somebody who exercised for 20 minutes a day. I was stressed and blessed because I went from someone who exercised 10 or more hours a week to someone who exercised for 20 minutes a day. Yeah, I just repeated myself. After months of doing this, because I was so panicked about this business having to work, I had no net. I had jumped like both feet all in. I didn't have, I can go back to this job after a year. It wasn't a leave of absence. I didn't taper on the work I was doing somewhere stable and then start my business. Oh no, I jumped all in. So after months of this 20 minutes a day of exercise, where I would let myself away from the computer, I barely recognized myself. I looked better. I was leaner, stronger, healthier looking than when I had thought I was in the best shape of my life months before when I'd finished an Ironman. I dug into all the research to figure out what happened to me, since that was the opposite. All the dogma about more exercise and less food, right? You've heard it. I was barely exercising compared to the fitness enthusiast I'd been for 3 decades. And at 49, what a time to cut back on exercise, right? And actually, exactly right. What I learned is that I had been doing it all wrong. And most women are doing it all wrong. Most trainers and fitness instructors are doing it all wrong. Not, I want to add, intentionally. The exercise programs that they offer have, in fact, the opposite intended effect for middle-aged women. And next on my to-do list is to think of a much sexier name for middle-aged women, because frankly, no one really wants to be the middle child, be the middle of the road, or be middle-aged. We'll deal with that later. So how is it that I would have screwed it up? Well, I would normally have exercised more and harder to get results if I was gaining weight or feeling less than fit. Hands up, is that you too? It is the answer you've heard from your girlfriend, your trainer, even your doctor. Exercise more and eat less. You've been led to believe that calories control your weight. That advice totally ignores that hormones control what's done with calories. Do you burn them or do you store them? Hormones call the shots. Since 1984, I first began, and I've been working as a fitness instructor, a fitness trainer, a manager, international presenter, health coach, trainer of trainers, senior lecturer in kinesiology at a university. I've seen and heard every single problem women between 40 and 60 and over have, because women in that demographic, if you will, are the largest population represented in fitness participants, fitness members, and in personal training clients. Here's what the research told me. I took all the firsthand primary research and experience I had and began to look for the research studies on women in perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. I looked at the women who aged most successfully without the personal chef, the maid, or the luxurious spa days regularly, and those who didn't, who struggled. And I learned that a very small fraction of research is even done on women and in women in perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause specifically. And that's important in its own right, that we separate those, because quote unquote after 50 programs for quote unquote seniors are usually BS programs just labeled to cater to women. And they're no different in terms of protocol than what else is offered, but they've only changed the title of the class. They ensure that you'll be surrounded by peers within 10 to 20 years of you. Is that even narrow? But it doesn't ensure that the program is created based on research about you or that it's about your ability. The guidelines or position statements that are created about exercise and what you should be getting for optimal health, or that are given by the Surgeon General for that matter, don't address nuances of hormones or you, the woman who's experienced the most dramatic shift in roller coaster ride on hormones in her life. And in case you're thinking, thank God I'm done with that, you're never done with hormones. You are a woman in menopause for 40 to 50% of her life, which, depending on how long you plan to live and when you first experience perimenopause, that's 40 to 50 years of your life. We should probably get this right, don't you think? In addition to fighting obesity in our country, for sure, women in midlife are fighting infobesity. Too much information, or TMI as we know it, is killing us. The women I meet virtually who are clients or in audiences that I speak to tell me that they're so confused by all the information. In fact, often that means they do nothing or they continue to do what they're doing that isn't working. That is exactly why I left that stable, steady paycheck and created Flipping 50. It's your filter. It's here that you only find information that's based on research for and about you. Because what works for a 25-year-old fit male, most often featured in studies, is not likely to work for a 55 or 65-year-old woman in menopause, fit or not. But when we have proof and proven programs, we measure pre and post. All Flipping 50 programs are using those statistics to communicate with doctors about what is working for women in midlife. Then we can narrow our focus. We can stop the information freeway and get on the road that makes us feel better faster. And the answer isn't more exercise, it's less exercise. And the answer isn't less food, it's more food. In both cases, it's about learning how to do it better without deprivation or punishment. If you hate it along the way, after all, you're not really headed to a level of fitness and body consciousness that you love to maintain. If you love it along the way, then you're headed to a lifetime of activity and energy and vitality. The Flipping 50 website is full of blogs and podcasts to support your journey. And if you're serious about getting a better GPS, though, the real goodness are found inside the Flipping 50 Cafe. It's the only membership created for women in midlife and older. Enrollment's open twice a year, and while I record this, it's either open or it's soon to be. And if you come later, never fear. You can get on the first to be notified list, and you'll hear about the juicy special cafe membership offer first, too. Menopause metabolism does not have to slow. Listen, I understand how very unintuitive it is to exercise less and or not to think that since you're getting older, you're delicate and you need to go easy. For instance, if you've ever said, well, I'm 70, I'm almost 65, how should I exercise? That's not the question. It's about your ability, and it's about what you want and believe that you can do. Oddly enough, many of the current articles published today still reflect the old myths that you're your age and that you will gain weight, and here's how you deal with slowing down after menopause. And that feeds your confusion. What I suggest is that if that's not working for you, either the more exercise approach or the go lightly exercise approach, is that you learn more. Learn the current research, what is proven to work, and what has worked for thousands of Flipping 50 students in the last 7 years. The place where you'll find the most in-depth content for exercising at home or in a gym is the first and the only hormone balancing fitness site in the world. It's, and I am, dedicated to women in perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. And it's the Flipping 50 Cafe. It's less than a gym membership. It's less than a personal trainer. It's less than a nutritionist. And it's less than a health coach. And I can help you in all of those areas. With 35 years of experience working with women just like you and me. I'm 55 and I get it. I get everything that you learned and still might think because I learned it. I even taught it. But we know so much more now. It's just a matter of understanding how to change your thoughts and do the right actions. And I've studied exercise psychology for over 30 years for just that purpose. Doors open soon to the cafe, so maybe while you're reading this or listening to it, take a quick tour inside the cafe in the show notes for this show, and that'll be at flipping50.com/menopause metabolism, and then join. I will list other resources, including the TED Talk that I just gave earlier this month as soon as that becomes available. And here's something to consider. The people at TEDx also think this is an important message because it took me 2 days, less than 2 days actually, to be accepted to provide a TED Talk on this topic. Check out today's show notes and you'll find those. If you have a question, you can leave it below those show notes at flipping50.com/menopause metabolism. And I love to hear from you, so leave your comments. If this episode was helpful, please leave a rating in iTunes and then share it with a friend Surround yourself with a supportive community of women on the same journey. To get the most from this week's episode, check out today's show notes again at flipping50.com/menopause-metabolism, where you'll find the juicy resources, the link to the cafe, the coming link to the TEDx Talk will also be there. What are you waiting for? Let's start flipping 50 together.